Hello and welcome to another episode of Taylor Talks Comics. Today we're going to be talking about Black Science by Rick Remender and Matteo Scalera in these beautiful hardcovers. Stay tuned. Okay, this is Black Science by Rick Remender, Matteo Scalera, the 43-issue series that I absolutely love. These are being published by Image Comics. And this video is being brought to you by Organic Price Books. They sent me out these readers' copies to do a review on. So you'll see this channel, or you'll see this video on the Taylor Talks Comics channel as well as the Organic Price Books channel. No matter where you're watching this, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And comment down below. I always reply to all the comments. I love talking comics with you guys. And if you want to order these books or any other great comic books, go to organicpricebooks.com. Use my promo code TaylorTalksComics. That will save you $2 off of any order of if you're ordering 1, 2, or 3 books like you have here. If you order 4 or more books, like you could order this set, throw in another book. There'll be 4 or more books. You can save 5% off that order by using my other promo code, TTC, Ship It Together. So it's going to give you more savings for a bigger order. But these are the recently reprinted, or printed, I guess, 10th year anniversary editions of Black Science. These have previously come out in hardcovers of the same trim size, but this is all brand new covers. The artwork here is brand new on these covers, done by Matteo Scalera and Moreno Denizio. Just want to show these off. So these are going to look a little bit different on the outsides of the previously released hardcovers, but the insides, I believe, are all 100% the same. So show off the spines here. Great matching spines. These are Remender sized. I'll do a little size comparison here in a moment. But you can see Black Science. The science is in a different color on each spine. And then you see a number 1, 2, or 3 on the Black Science logo there. And then each one carries a different title. The Beginner's Guide to Entropy, Transcendentalism, and A Brief Moment of Clarity. Got the Image logo on the top and the Giant Generator logo on the bottom, which is Rick Remender's imprint with Image Comics. Show off the back covers here because these are full bleed artwork on the front and back. So no words or descriptions on the back, which I don't think you always need on these kind of boutique kind of hardcover books, because if you're going to be buying a book of this magnitude, surely you've done enough research to figure out what the series is about, or maybe you previously read it. But it does include down here the USBN, but also what issues it includes. So Volume 1 has issues 1 through 16. Volume 2 has issues 17 through 30. And then Volume 3 has issues 31 through 43. Nice and easy, just issues 1 through 43, no annuals, no crossovers, none of that stuff. It's all self-contained, one story. Rated M for mature sci-fi adventure, and you can look up more information on giantgenerator.com. So what is Black Science? And why is it one of Remender's best books? Well, before we get into that, I do want to do a size comparison, because Image Comics does a variety of different hardcovers. Remender keeps his to the same trim size, which I love. I think people kind of colloquially call it the Remender-sized books. They are the same trim size as a DC Absolute or a Dark Horse Library Edition. Those are all kind of the same trim size. But Image does have deluxe editions they do, which are a little bit smaller in trim size. So this is the Department of Truth. You can see Black Science is taller than and wider than it. And you can see right here it's taller than and wider than it as well. So just want to show that off just so people at home know how great these books are. So we're going to open up the book here, and we get some end papers. And I believe the end papers all match this color where the word science is on the spine, is what color the end papers are. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, if you notice it differently as I show these off. You open up here, we get the credits. We get Rick Remender on writing duties, Matteo Scalera on art. Matteo Scalera does the artwork on all 43 issues. That doesn't change. The only changes you get will be with colors. Dean White does the first 10 issues. Michael Spicer does issue number 11. which is noticeable. And Mike Spicer is a great colorist. I enjoy his work, especially with Dino Warren Johnson. He typically does coloring for him. And then Moreno Denizio takes over on issue number 12, and I believe he carries throughout the rest of the series. Russ Wooten did the logo design and lettering, and Sebastian Gerner was the editor. So you're going to get all your covers to break up your chapters here. The covers, all the cover designs kind of had like this 2/3 vertical view where you have a 2/3 image here, and then over here it would say Black Science. Kind of a really cool design effect. But you do get the covers between each chapter without the trade dress. So there's no Black Science on here, but it does have which issue you're on, which is nice. So you can always know which issue. I don't know, some comics don't do that. Some comic book collections. Here's an example though. Here's like this was a Sean Murphy variant. I'll show the variants off in a little bit. But this is more of an example of what they looked like as single issues. You have like the 2/3 vertical with the 1/3 over here, Black Science, what issue number it was, credits, and whatnot. So you just dive right into the story. And Black Science is a sci-fi pulp adventure. I can tell based on reading a lot of Rick Remender stories, which he is one of my favorite writers, that not only does he always infuse themes of nihilism and punk rock and anti-authority, definitely some anarchies infused within this story, and also super flawed characters. His characters are always kind of like the trope of a Remender stories. The characters are always super flawed, kind of jerks or just kind of scumbags, to cite the name of a series from Rick Remender, Scumbag. But also I could tell he has to be a really big fan of EC comics from back in the day, because the EC sci-fi pulps of that era are definitely drenched all over this series, which I love, like weird science and those kinds, weird fantasy, those kinds of stories. But also you see a little bit of EC horror in here. I think Matteo Scalera's artwork during some of the more horrific, here's one right here, scenes definitely mirror what you'd think from like a Ghastly Graham Ingalls or Jack Davis horror comics from EC. And then war. There's definitely some war scenes in here that mirror like John Severin or Harvey Kurtzman war comics from EC. But with all that said, it's done with definitely a modern dialogue, modern storytelling, and that kind of thing. So it's like those are his inspirations with storytelling, but he's telling it from a more modern take. So another storytelling bit too with Black Science that I love is that it's done at a breakneck pace. This comic never stops. It's always going. It's not even 0 to 60. It just starts at 60 and stays pedal to the metal throughout the entire story. Maybe there's a few moments where they drop down the MPH to 40 to do a little bit of storytelling bits, but have a little bit of quieter scenes. But other than that, it is a breakneck pace from the word jump. And I love that. However, that doesn't mean you're not getting a story, because while that's all happening, while the action's all going at 100 miles an hour, you are getting these kind of diary narrative dialogues, or not dialogues, sorry, diary narratives, where different characters are kind of writing. It seems like they're writing in a diary. They don't ever mention writing in, I think, well, actually, I take that back. I think early in the comic, Grant McKay, the main character, is writing in a diary, but you'll get certain issues that are from the perspective of different characters to really give you a grasp of who they are and what makes them tick and whatnot. So it's done in like these very, I'm trying to think of a kind of these lighthearted, retrospective diaries, I guess I should say, which are really slower moments for you to read while the story is going at a breakneck pace. So it really has this really interesting dichotomy of reading a story in a retrospective kind of flashback narrative, but then seeing the action happen in this super fast-paced style. And Matteo Scalera is an incredible artist. I love his style. The figure drawing does have kind of this unique, almost cartoony style to it, reminiscent of maybe like a Jim Mahfood or even a Micro Waringo style. But the inking that he does has like the what do you call those speed lines and those kinds of things are kind of reminiscent of like manga. But then he like has all this splatter of ink everywhere too, which is again reminds me of like a Jim Mahfood or just a great graffiti artwork. But with that said, the panel layouts and whatnot, his storytelling as an artist is amazing. It just flows so beautifully. This story really made me a huge fan of Matteo Scalera, and I wanted to read any comics that he does. And let me go over some of the background features of this book, and then I'll tell you what the story is actually about. I promise. Those are just kind of like the backgrounds of how it got made and that kind of thing that I wanted to show off or talk about before that. But here's some variant covers that different artists did throughout the series. And I do love that they maintain that design aesthetic of the covers. I think it's really cool to have kind of that uniformity of the covers. It stands out on the stands. If you are aware of Black Science, you know that when you see that, it is Black Science. Here's some character designs and whatnot from Matteo Scalera, as well as color notes and color where Dean White and also the other colorist who I'm blanking on right now, Moreno Disneo, are trying to work out the colors for each character. And you get some layouts too, mixed with the pencils and the inks, which is really cool to see because as I was reading this, I really wanted to see some Matteo Scalera original artwork, and I'm glad you get to see some of it in here to see his process. So you can see he does a quick layout, does all the pencils, and then really lays on the inks, and then the colors come later after that. And then you get a whole script back here of Rick Remender, which is also great. I always like to read my favorite writers in comics to read how they write their scripts and whatnot. So as I pull up volume 2 here, let's talk about the story. So Black Science is about Grant McKay. Grant McKay is a super flawed scientist. He's an anarchist. He basically wants to make science, create inventions, and then just release them to the public for free. He doesn't believe in big corporations, doesn't believe in the money-hungry capitalism that is involved in science and medicine. But he just wants to create. That's all he wants to do. And you get a really great backstory of why he's an anarchist and he doesn't want to just destroy things. He wants to actually create things. And it involves his upbringing with his father. So that's definitely a story in here that you'll be able to read. But Grant McKay is also a big jerk. And he's super flawed, always making mistakes. And he's also work obsessed. I very much always tell people that this whole story is kind of like what if Rick Remender made a Fantastic Four comic, because Grant McKay really does share a lot of similarities to Reed Richards. And then the other character in here, Alan, or dang it, what's his name? Not Alan. What's his name? Character names I'm always terrible at. Aslan is his last name. We'll just call him Mr. Aslan. Is like the guy that's kind of funding this big project for this Black Science, what they're trying to create. And he reminds me a lot of like Dr. Doom, because they both have a history together from back in the day, in their early college days. And between the two of them, you can see flaws in them both, but also see a lot of humanity and see how they're both trying to create good for the better of mankind. Maybe they have different views on that, though. And there's a love triangle, too, with Grant's wife, but also Grant has a mistress involved on the team as well. So what they're doing in this project of Black Science is they're dimension knots. And they are found a way to travel to different dimensions within the universe. And they kind of call it like an onion. They kind of compare it to an onion and all the layers of an onion. If you want to think like Shrek, I guess. But this is like their logo, and it's supposed to be reminiscent of an onion and all the different layers. And all the different layers represent a different dimension that they're traveling to. And the idea is that they can travel to all these different dimensions and grab medicines and technology from these other dimensions, bring them back to normal Earth dimension, and cure diseases and have all this advanced technology. While they're traveling through different dimensions, though, if you've read any sort of time traveling or dimension hopping story in the past, you know things can go awry. And they definitely do. They kind of get stuck in different dimensions. They get separated as a team because it is Grant, his estranged wife, Grant's mistress, Grant's funder, this Aslan guy, as well as Grant's 2 kids. Are all and then a couple of other Grants. His the the guy that's kind of the protector and ward, and then Sean, who's like his protege, if you will. So you have the team of and a great cast of characters that you're going to learn all about throughout the entire journey. They do get separated at times, and you get a lot of different dynamics of them working together in different duos or trios as they're separated and trying to find their way back home. Because everybody goes on the initial journey, the initial adventure that starts off the story, except for Sarah, the wife of Grant. Everyone else is included. So Grant's trying to get the kids back home to their mom, as well as maybe reconcile with his wife back home, even though the kids and everybody has found out that he has been cheating on her. So just great sci-fi pulp action, a lot of bombastic artwork by Matteo Scalera and dimension hopping. And I have to say, even though it's, as I get volume 3 out here, even though it works at a breakneck pace, as I said, it also works kind of as like a manifesto of Rick Remender, saying all of the dimension hopping and time travel stories you've ever read, some of them have like plot holes or maybe don't make sense necessarily all the way through. Let me write one going 100 miles an hour and also try to make it make sense. And that's kind of what he does. So I don't if you have like an aversion to time travel or dimension hopping stories, because they can be like cumbersome and seeing all the different versions of different characters from different dimensions, because you do meet other versions of Grant McKay and all his comrades, where it even creates some confusion over who's the real Grant McKay, who's the real Pia and Sarah and Mr. Aslan, who I can't remember his first name for some reason. You're going to meet all the different versions of those characters throughout as well. And it doesn't get confusing though. I just realized that I showed off volume 3 a second. This is actually volume 2. And I remember because I'm actually in my reread, I'm inside this volume, and it's all looking very familiar to me. But yeah, I can't recommend this series enough. As I'm doing this reread, because I'm on issue 27, again, Organic Price Books, they send me out this bookmark as well. I'm realizing that Fear Agent has always been cited as my favorite Rick Remender story, hands down. I love all the sci-fi pulp involved in Fear Agent. Black Science is a number 2 of my second favorite Remender story of all time, and it is a very, very close number 2. I think when it's all said and done and I finish this reread, if you were to ask me on any given day, my answer might change. So here's a Image Now to mirror Marvel Now, and these are a lot of the Image characters. You see, are these all Rick Remender characters? And I see Deadly Class, and I see Tokyo Ghost. No, but that's I Hate Fairyland from Scotty Young. Oh, here's a Spawn variant. This is like the Spawn logo treatment there. So you get some more variant covers back here. Some more character designs as the characters are evolving or changing or coming from different dimensions. Which again, Matteo Scalera's got to work all that out too. It's not just doing character designs for main cast of characters. You have to do all these different versions of them as well, which is interesting. So a lot of concept art back here. I don't want to flip through every page. Got to leave some for you guys to purchase it. Some more scripts in the back. And then let me go back to volume 3. I didn't go through the back matter on that one too. So these are really definitive collections too. Like you're not missing anything getting these collections. Yeah. There's also these double page. I don't want to. That's the last page. I don't want to. A lot of double page spreads in here as well, but it has like the cinematic feel to it, where it's like has like the title lettering at the bottom, and then you get like the panel layout. Sometimes it does spread across the 2 pages. This is just 4 panels, but like that kind of theme too is throughout it that I enjoy as far as like panel layouts and storytelling devices. It's always a kind of a treat to flip to that page where it says Black Science at the bottom. And sometimes the lettering is like dripping down from the space. Sometimes it's big, blocky like this. Sometimes it's at the beginning of the issue. Sometimes it's at the end of the issue. There's some really cool touches there. Here's a variant by James Herron. I love this artist. He did Ultra Mega and Rumble as well. Mike Hawthorne, Philip Tan. Oh, Chris Samney doing an issue or a cover. That's cool. Declan Shalvey. Trying to see if there's any. Oh, Kevin McGuire. Ooh, of JLI fame. That's really cool. Luis La Rosa. It's really cool too when you have a writer like Rick Remender get to the magnitude where he can start asking some of his favorite artists to do variants. I'm just assuming Rick Remender was a fan of Kevin McGuire's artwork, maybe from JLI, and was able to like hit him up and say like, "Hey, can you do a variant for me?" And here's some Eververse rarities, some concept art too. It looks like, yeah. This is a image of the onion that I was talking about earlier. Oh, where'd it go? Okay, of all the different dimensions is what they're always looking at. So yeah, this is Black Science. I can't recommend the series enough, though. Seriously, if you're looking for something that's not superheroes, and you're looking for some like sci-fi pulp action, if you like to read a modern sci-fi story, or maybe if you're a Fantastic Four fan, and you're wanting to read a story that is able to push the envelope of those characters, because they're not exact replicants of those characters, but it definitely feels reminiscent of those characters. Then you can read this as well. Again, give the video a thumbs up. Comment if down below with anything you want to talk about with this series or Rick Remender, or anything to do with comics. I will talk to you there and reply to those. Subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget my promo code for organicpricebooks.com. Use Taylor Talks Comics in the checkout line, and you'll save $2 off of any order. If you order 4 or more books, you want to use TTC, ship it together, you'll save 5% off that order. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Talk to you guys later. Keep reading comics. See ya.